The transfer window has officially shut now, so it is time to decide which team had the best window and which teams had absolute stinkers. We're going to grade them as per usual from A to F. I've got 20 teams here, ranging from obviously a lot of Premier League teams, because we know the Premier League is now the Super League. They're all spending crazy. So we've got like 9 Prem teams, a bunch of Serie A teams, La Liga, Bundesliga, and Liga. And we're going to rank them, of course, based on, I guess, expectations, how much they spent, but then also transfers outwards as well, whether that be to other teams in the league, other leagues, etc, etc. You get the point by now. Before we kick off straight away in alphabetical order with Arsenal, I'm going to ask you for one thing. When I point there, you know what that means. We're on the road to 100k, because other creators, listen, international break, they say, all right, see you later. I'm going to go and hibernate like I'm Winnie the Pooh or something. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Not me. I'm here every day. So if you respect it, like the video, subscribe, share it with your mates. Tell them this guy, he's next up. But without further ado, let's tuck in. We start at Arsenal. This one already, I'm going to go into B. I know already there might be Arsenal fans very angry saying, oh, sign Gyökeres, Eze rather, Zubimendi, Mosquera, Kepa. The list goes on and on. However, let me tell you why I've not gone up into the A. It is the sales. Big respect to Berta. Like I said, he's got even like your Norgards and Hincapiés, the kind of deals he's been doing to bring players to Arsenal, whether that be loans with obligation when I decide, fair play. Eze was an incredible hijack from Spurs, fantastic. Obviously, Gyökeres, whether or not you think he's good or not, it's someone that was, I guess, the top scorer in Europe last year. I just feel as though attacking-wise, they're slightly lacking still in terms of like an out-and-out left winger with pace. Madueke, 50 mil is quite a lot to be a Saka backup, but again, it is not my money. I cannot tell you guys how to judge it. But guys, it's the outgoings. Because for all the money that Arsenal have been spending, look, Nuno Tavares, 5 million is the biggest sale this window. You can argue Kiwior as well in terms of he's gone to Porto on loan, but when they decide, they will pay the money. Marquinhos, 3 million. And guys, Lokonga for 300k. Vincent Kompany told us Lokonga's the next Yaya Toure. Current Yaya Toure is better than Lokonga. So again, fair play, you got 300k. And then obviously a few loans. Reece Nelson, you still can't sell him. Zinchenko, you can't sell him. So as a whole window, big up for the signings. You're missing a left winger and the sales are really, really bad. You're going to see from other teams what I'm talking about when I say that Arsenal cannot sell. We go straight on to Atletico Madrid. Obviously, they had a really bad start to the season, but I think their window was calm. You know, C, like I always say, C is kind of like for calm, right? They brought in Bayern, who was putting up really nice numbers in the last couple seasons. Almada, someone that was rated really highly. Raspadori, not so much, I'll be honest with you. He was an alright guy at Napoli. Hanko, I don't have a lot of information on. But then, like I say, calm, because their sales, I'm looking in front of me, they sold Samuel Lino to Flamengo. He just got into our team of the week, by the way, bagging 2 goals, 3 assists in the 8-0 win. Vermeeren, 20 mil, fair play. Moreno for 10 million, though. I saw him for Villarreal in pre-season. I thought it was quite decent. So that 10 million, they might regret it. But again, there's nothing like incredible to talk about, like incoming or outgoing. So we'll go to Barca, who, unfortunately, joined them in the C category, because as much as I have gassed up Juan Garcia as a top 3 or definitely top 5 goalkeeper in the world, I'm still going to push for number 3. Where's the rest of the business, bro? Big respect for bringing Marcus Rashford. You know, he's the first Englishman since Gary Lineker, for those of us who remember. Or for those of us who really remember, there was Mark McGuane, but I don't think he played that Liga game at any point. So we'll say since Gary Lineker. But that's a loan. I still feel as though the kind of high pressing football that you want to play, not even high pressing, it's more so, it's a crazy high line, right? Almost a suicide line, if you will. It's crazy. And we mustn't forget as well, they got rid of Inigo Martinez. That is a bit of a concern. They sold a few youngsters here and there. They recouped like 20 mil. They did not really replace Inigo Martinez. Will that come back to bite them this season? Will Araujo step back up and become his previous level? We don't know. We're going to find out. But we are now heading to Deutschland. We have 2 German teams, and I'm going to be real with you guys. You might not like it. I'm going to save time and put Bayern in F. Why have I done that? I do not believe that Luis Diaz is a bad player. Quite the opposite. I think he's decent. Nicholas Jackson, likewise. I don't think he's a terrible player. I think he's quite decent. My issue is the money. 80 million, 70 million for these guys to replace. I guess they sold Tell to Spurs and Kingsley Coman for 25 M's. So you've spent basically 150 M's for a marginal upgrade on players that in Bayern's best 11, do they both even get in? Because Kane's obviously locked in. Olise's locked in. Again, you might argue he plays in the 10, and then you're going to have Diaz and Jackson as the wingers maybe. If that's the case, then I can push it up to a D grade. But I repeat, Bayern's objective with these transfers, you have to remember, every team is relative to their own standards, right? So Bayern's standards is, I'm spending 150 M's to get over the line and win Champions Leagues. The Bundesliga is not something special for them, bro. They can go and pick up somebody for case in point, right? One of their signings, they bought Jonathan Tah for 2 million. You could find Bundesliga wingers for 3 or 4 million that will do the same job and win you the Bundesliga, because, well, the next team we're going to speak about are absolutely honking. If they deliver in Champions League and I see Diaz bagging braces in the quarterfinals and semi-finals, fair enough. But for now, like, I'm sorry, you loaned out Palhinha as well, so he's not someone that got many minutes, so I'm not going to use that as a thing. It's not for me. And Leverkusen, turmoil. I'll be honest, it's over. Start packing your bags. Like, you go and join Eric Ten Hag on the plane or wherever he's going to, because, wow, this was a bad window. I'm going to read you out the players that they've sold, and I'm going to read you who they replaced them with, right? So they sold Florian Wirtz, Frimpong, Adli, Xhaka, Kusunu, Hincapié is sold. You know what I mean. They've also got rid of Boniface, he's gone to Werder Bremen, right? They've recouped about 200 million from that. You're thinking, oh, fair play. Got some money there. Here's how they spent that 200 million. Tillman, Kwanzaa, Benzagir, Bade, Matza, and Flecken, who, for those of us who watch Bundesliga, we just saw my man sprint out 50 yards to the halfway line to try and tackle someone, and they conceded and they drew 3-3 to 10 men. I'm sorry. Does that sound like 200 million worth of money to you? To me, it doesn't, and therefore it's an F. If anything, by a Leverkusen, I'd have gone for an L for Leverkusen. That's how bad it is. It's below F. It is an L. But obviously, for the sake of the video, I got to put them in the F. So there they are. We go to Chelsea. I want to crown them as the greatest sellers in football history. I was going through the transfer marks, obviously a bit of research before the video. Let me see exactly who they purchased, who they sold. We'll start with the incomings, to be fair, because, yo, João Pedro, someone that I really liked, good signing. Gittins, I think, was an underrated one. I think he's really good. Hato, I don't know a lot about, but the Dutch fans seem to love him. He's quite a leader at such a young age. Again, fair play. Delap, another one. I think he's being underrated because, you know, he came from Ipswich. He's English. He's not super technical. I'm not going to count Esteval because that's a deal that was done beforehand, if you get what I mean. However, the one that I don't like, Garnacho. That's a bad deal, guys. And Chelsea fans, deep down, be honest with me, you know it's true as well. The fact that when Spurs are bringing Javi Simmons, when Arsenal are bringing Eze, they're coming to do unveiling in the stadium, they're clapping, the fans are singing their names. They told Garnacho, go and sit up there. Go up there and sit there. You're not coming to have no unveiling, because deep down, Chelsea fans, bro, you know what good wingers are. Garnacho is not that. But the reason why it maintains an A is because, again, the list of players they've sold. Noni Madueke, £50 million sterling. Nkunku, who was literally riding bench and then coming to play versus Noah's Ark in the conference, 30 mil from Milan. Joao Felix, he came back before his homecoming 2-3 times, another 30 mil. These guys just seem to get money from out of nowhere. I can go further. George Petrovic, how are they getting like 28 million for my man? Uguchuku, 28 million. Dewsbury Hall, someone that I rate, to be fair, but his last season at Chelsea is not a season where you say, you know what, 28 mil. But somehow, look, you got to let me know, Chelsea fans, what the secret is. I made a video time ago, are they using GTA cheats? I slightly still stand by that, because this selling is ridiculous. Obviously, money for Broha as well in the 20 mils. You see how, like, Arsenal love signing Deadwood from Chelsea. Whoever is responsible at Arsenal, go to find the negotiator at Chelsea. Go and sign that guy and start learning how to sell players, because Chelsea are phenomenal at it. So fair enough. We go over to Dortmund, and it's going to be a D for Dortmund. Joe Bellingham is a signing that I like, actually. I know it's like, oh, he's not as good as his brother, blah, blah, blah. That's what a lot of people say. I think he's really decent, to be honest with you. They brought Fabio Silva from Wolves. Don't really rate him, but again, for Bundesliga, look, a lot of men can pull up there and bag like 15, 20 goals, so that's fair enough. Jan Couto and guys like that as well. You know, disappointing. I can't lie. There's nothing really moving me there. Obviously, you sold Gittins. Your, super wonder kids, Star Boys, Mukoko and Gio Reyna have gone for like 3 or 4 million each. It's not a really good look. It's a disappointing one for a team that I'm expecting to fight for second this season, because Leverkusen, as we've said, are so bad. Another team joining them in the D tier is going to be Internazionale. To be fair to them, the reason why it's not an F is because we know that Inter have often been like a bit of an unk team, right? Where brothers that are like 35, 36, you go for one last dance and somehow you still manage to like win trophies or win the title. Your Mkhitaryan's, Alexis Sanchez, Ashley Young. Bro, I can list you names upon names of unks that have gone to Inter and they randomly just start cooking. They've gone for like, they've bought like 4 under 23 players, you could say. You got Enrique, you got Bonny, you got Juf, and you've got the next Modric, Sucic. So in that regards, Fairs, Akanji, I don't really rate him, to be honest with you, but at the same token, maybe a bit of a slower league, he won't look as terrible as he has in the last year. And with regards to sales, look, I mean, they sold a bit of cannon fodder, right? Guys like Taremi, who was not good at all since the moment he arrived at Inter, to be honest with you. Guys like Buchanan, who, to be fair, seems to be doing alright, actually, since he left. And then, obviously, there's Zalewski, 17 mil. Like, it's a bit disappointing, bro. This is a team that nearly won the Serie A, nearly won the Champions League, nearly won everything. And when you're at that level of, like, you can smell all the trophies, you want to have a statement window. And this statement says, Antonio Conte, enjoy another trophy, bro. Don't really like it. Juventus, their arch rivals, will be joining them in the D tier. I know that Inter and Juve fans are going to be angry at me putting them next to each other because they don't get along. However, I'm sorry, bro. It's disappointing. Look, big up Jonathan David. I say Jonathan like I'm changing so many language. I'm saying Jonathan like he's tar. Jonathan David, proper Canadian. They brought in, Openda, Zagrova. I like him as well, but is that enough? I mean, I could push them a bit higher, to be fair. They're in that tier, bro. It's not really calm, to be honest with you. The sales as well, like those kind of Rovellas and Fagiolis and these guys that nobody really cares about. It's a bit disappointing, I'll be honest. I thought they were going to come and try it again, make a bit of a statement, and they haven't done that. 3 Prem teams upcoming. Liverpool, a team who has broke the British transfer record twice in one window, are going up to A. This is phenomenal. Again, like Chelsea though, it's not perfect. Let's say the good things first and foremost, because of course you've bought the second best striker in the league, one of the top 5 in Europe, in Isak. You've got Florian Wirtz, who I still think is an incredible player. Is he worth the money? Maybe not. But I think guys are being too quick to write him off. I think he's a really good player, taking the burden off Salah in terms of he's a 34-year-old man having to create 24/7. So I think that's really good. Hugo Ekitike has performed beyond expectations so far. I don't know how that will fare with Isak coming now. Will he be a side man? I can't say for that one. Frimpong, I didn't really rate that one, and I still don't. I think I'm kind of being justified so far. Kirkes, I did rate. Tough start, but he's getting there. And Leone, I have no information, so I can't really judge on that one. The reason why I'm not overly keen on the incomings, I still believe there's something missing in midfield. Not that their 3 aren't good enough already. It's more so beyond that, right? Like, if Gravenberch, for example, he had a phenomenal last season, but by January, kaput. He ran out of steam, and the final 4 months were really, really bad. There is a danger that happens again. If you are relying heavily on Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, whether he plays right back, midfield, I don't know what's going to happen. I guess we'll wait and see. You do need just that one more option. And I felt as though that was maybe more of a priority. And of course, I'm not going to call it embarrassment, but you kind of fumbled the Mark Gahey signing. You did need like a centre-back, Prem-proven, ready-made. Leone may be cold, I don't know. And then, of course, we have to mention they lost players too and made quite a lot of money. A bit like Chelsea. But before, I forgot to mention for Chelsea, the reason why I like their window so much as well is that I always felt as though Chelsea's 11, like the starting 11, was already really good in terms of there's no like weak points, right? There's no one that's like a million miles ahead of everyone, but there's no one that's like a stinker in that team. So they've just now added a bit of depth, a bit more options. How Pedro can play as a 9 behind the strikers. You got guys that can play left wing, right wing. Again, you could argue maybe like In defence, they're still a little bit weak, but I think their window was good. Liverpool, likewise. I wanted some midfield options there. But again, look, the money they've got, Diaz 70 million, daylight robbery. I'm not saying Diaz is bad, but would you guys tell me with chest, look me in the virtual eye and tell me that the gap between Diaz and Rio Ngumoa is 70 million worth? Spoiler alert, it's not. Darwin Núñez, 50 million. Absolute robbery once again. Whoever's doing this, if it's Michael Edwards or whoever these men are, go to sign up for Money High Season 4, Season 5, because you man are doing a fantastic job. They, of course, sold Quanta for good money, Doak for good money. They lost Trent. I don't believe he's been fully replaced. Maybe a Szoboszlai now. Who knows? Off to... Oh, my voice there. Sorry, it's been a long day. Apologies. Off to Man City. I'm going to be putting them in the B tier. Many people are underwhelmed by their window. I feel as though it's more like a recency thing. A lot of their business was done before the Club World Cup. So we're kind of used to these names, right? But guys, Tijani Reinders, in my opinion, was the best player in Serie A last year. Obviously, McTominay won it. I think it was them two neck and neck. And I think Reinders is a better player overall, as well as having a really good season. That's class. Shirky, up and coming. He's going to be class, in my opinion. A couple goalkeepers, that's where it becomes a bit weird and why it's not an A, because you got Trafford. Trafford probably thought, okay, Ederson's going, I'm going to be the main guy now. Suddenly Donnarumma's available. It's like, oh, I want him. A complete opposite of what Pep normally goes for. And that Severe Naipan, brother, I can't comment. I don't know enough about him. As for the sales, McAtee is someone that I would have liked to see get a chance, but I know, again, you cannot hoard a billion players, so fair enough. I'm not a fan of Ait Nouri. I've made that one very clear. I think going forward, good fullback, but you can keep on shouting at me. I don't mind. I don't rate Ait Nouri as a defender. City last season defensively had many problems. Does Ait Nouri solve any of those? In my opinion, no. But again, look, things can change. Let's not be quick to judge. I don't know what's going to happen. As I said, Ederson, you know, he dipped. He went to Fenerbahce in the end. There was so much debate about where he's going to go. He's gone. They've got two keepers. They've sold a few other, like, Perones and Couto and that. It's a B tier. Like, it's good. It's just, is it enough to get them back to where they were? Obviously, the KDB, of course, went on a free to Napoli. It's not enough to move the needle for me to get them above Liverpool or even Arsenal, dare I say. On to the other side of Manchester. Might surprise you here, but I'm going to go over C. Because this is a team that they lost the Europa League final in disgraceful fashion to a team who has no business winning trophies in this, you know, millennium, let's say. Finished 15th. You're thinking, oh, this could be dark for United. But in fairness to them, it ended up pretty calm because they spent 200 M's on Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko. If you follow me for a while now, on TikTok or other apps or on Twitch, where I stream quite a lot every day. Not every, that's a complete lie. Every week is what I meant to say. You will know that Mbeumo, I've always been a big fan of. Likewise for Cunha. Sesko, when there was a Sesko-Gyökeres debate, I always told you guys, none of them. My answer is neither of them. But again, 70 mil, it's a striker. Anything's better than Rasmus Højlund. So, you know, fair play for that one. And the sales have been alright. You know, you got good money for Garnacho. You got rid of the bomb squad a little bit. And Sancho's gone to Villa on loan. You've also dashed Lindelof to Villa as well. Anthony, you got 20 million for. I said the other day, this was probably the biggest misallocation of resources since Zimbabwe hyperinflation back in the day, for those of us who remember. Anthony was really bad. You got 20 M's. For me, there's such... Oh, you got a goalkeeper as well, sorry, on deadline day in Lamens. But the central midfield position, you have 0 players who are comfortable playing as a centre mid in a midfield too. To me, that's unforgivable. That's why it can't go to like a B, like oh, that's a really good window. No midfielders. You're still rocking about with Bruno as an 8. Casemiro, Ugarte as an 8. Kobe Mainoo with no one to partner him because he likes to play in the midfield 3. It just doesn't work for me. So they're going to be a C. We go to Italy. Milan. Gonna be honest, it's going to be a hat-trick for the Serie A teams for this one so far, because I'm going to put them in between Juve as well. Although I'll give them their neighbours next to each other. No. I'll leave it like that. Nkunku is a player that I like, to be fair. I like Nkunku. But how long are Milan going to be that team for meaty players to try and regain their rep? as like a stepping stone. Milan are, this is my opinion, I know many people say Juventus, just how I see it, I see Milan as like the biggest Italian team. When I think of Italian teams, I think of Milan. You should not be a stepping stone kind of club, bro. And the signings, Nkunku, Ricky, I actually quite like Estupinian, to be fair. A lot of people are saying he's robbed, he's meaty, he fell off at Brighton. I know even the Milan fans are hating on Estupinian. It's not been like an incredible start, don't get me wrong, but I think with time, I think he'll be alright. But yeah, the sales, listen, that's where the issue lies in terms of disappointment, because you've lost your best player, Tejani Reinders. You've lost Theo Hernandez, who, despite declining a lot last year, is still one of your most important players going forward, and defensively as well. Obviously Okafor, Kalulu, they've gone as well, and it's like you got a lot of money back, but what have you really done with it? It's like what Bidare Ball says on Twitter, bro. That iconic video where he brings the calculator, and it's like, oh, okay, so you're gonna put that 70 million on the pitch there to play in centre mid, or what's gonna happen? I don't really know. Not a fan of their window. Napoli, I'll let them go one step above a D. For me, it's a calm window for Napoli, right? They've brought like Noah Lang, he's okay. Bukima, that brother, I don't have enough information about him, so apologies. Gutierrez, I think, is a good signing for them actually at left back. That's a solid one, in my opinion. They obviously brought KDB. So far, it's not been looking good, I'll be honest, but KDB's KDB. Even if it's like 5-10 games a season, if he makes that deciding impact, because let's not forget, last season, I know they had a 1-0 just now, and to be fair, KDB got hooked because he was so bad. But in general, Napoli won way too many games last season by the skin of their teeth. So hopefully, with him playing now, but again, not every week, or maybe just in big games in Champions League, he can make the impact to unlock doors a little bit more for more comfortable wins. So again, yeah, Napoli, GG's. On to Newcastle. Welcome to the F tier. If anything, guys, it might be the worst one. This is a disgrace. Because I think, look, we talk about like Anthony, we talk about like other players that's cost a lot, Mudryk and these guys. In my opinion, this Voltemade transfer is the transfer that will ultimately be looked back on as the one that broke the market. Now, let me land on this. Not because he's bad. Many of us don't know a lot about him. I watched him against England in the under-21 just like a couple months ago. He was alright. My issue is that how are you getting 90 million for a guy who has played like one season of like, let's say, serious football, and even then it's not in the Champions League or anywhere serious whatsoever. He's just any guy who bagged like 13 Bundesliga goals, bro. At least the other guys, like we knew of them before. They had a bit of hype behind them. Like Mudryk, for example, they were gassing him because, Champions League, Real Madrid, they were giving him round of applause for Shakhtar and whatnot. Like, there was a reason why. It was definitely an overpay, but I understand. I don't understand how Voltemade can be 90 million. And that's going to make other teams say, oh, hey, Voltemade costs 90 million. You know what to do. And I think Newcastle have been completely bullied in this market. Like, Johan Wissa on the final day, 50 M's. I like Wissa, but that's a lot of money for a guy. I think he's 29 with 1 year left on his deal. To me, that's really bad. What else? Obviously, the whole Isak saga, again, massive F for them because, bro, they came in saying, oh, we're going to start playing 4-4-2. Isak Ekitike. I look up, I see Isak Ekitike at Anfield. Really bad window for them. And to be honest with you, Elanga as well. I'm an Elanga fan. 60 M's. Not quite sure about that. So, guaranteed F. Speaking of where Elanga came from, I suppose, in Nottingham Forest, I think, to be honest with you, this is a B window. This is a good window for a team who have got Europe and they're trying to kick on a little bit. Now, the incomings, I must say, I'm not like super excited by. Like Hutchinson, I don't really rate him, so that 40 M's, that's quite bad. And Ndoye, he was okay in the Euros. He started out quite well, to be fair. Another 40 mil. They spent a couple French, like, not, I don't know if they're French, but they're league-earned young ballers, right? Kalimawendo and Abakwa is the one that I'm not sure where he's from. But again, a young league-earned player. And then McAtee, I mentioned it for City. I think that could be a very shrewd bit of business for Nottingham Forest, especially with, we don't know what's going to happen in the end for Gibbs White. Will he leave? Will he stay? Even keeping Gibbs White is part of why it's a really good window for them. They didn't really lose anyone great, bar like Elanga for them, right? When I say great, for their level. And as I said in the previous video, you guys didn't even notice it, Mr. Marinakis. I don't know if it's him or it's Edu finally doing something. They went and bought like 4 Botafogo players. I was calling Big John a cold player, not the SDS one. He's cold as well, but Big John of Botafogo. They got Igor Jesus doing Dragon Ball Z celebration. They got a lot of Botafogo players in there, again, for a bit of depth, so that when they're playing European games, they're not going to really suffer. So that's it. For their standards, good window. On to PSG. Zabani and Chevalier. That is it. 100M spent, and then you've dashed Donnarumma and Bear Fodder. Chevalier had a really good season last year. Many people put him in their league team of the season. And to be fair, I've seen him save a couple penalties just this last weekend of recording or before recording. So really good keeper. PSG won the Champions League, right? They won the treble and they were phenomenal. They're a really great team already. There's not much that can be changed. However, when you look at teams that dominated for a long time, the likes of, let's say, United, the likes of Real Madrid, even going back to like Liverpool with like, Bill Shankly and them, man. It's about how you keep on evolving. You cannot get stale. So maybe Marquinhos for Zabani is one thing, but is that it? You need guys to be on their toes. Their spot is not guaranteed. I don't think this has been enough of a window to say, you know what? We have won this and it's not going to be a one-off. We are here to stay. That doesn't mean they won't win anymore because, again, Ligue 1 is guaranteed and they still have an incredible 11. But I just think it needed a bit more excitement for me personally. But again, it's not my money. I can't say anything. Final 3 teams, we go to Real Madrid. They are going to be up to a B for me personally. Dean Huijsen from Bournemouth, incredible signing. We saw it at the Club World Cup already. We've seen it in the league so far. Just even his defender, we all know about it, but it's his passing, it's his composure, threat in the other box. This is someone that in a backline that was aging, bro. Carvajal, Rudiger, Alaba, these guys, bro, they're in their 40s and 50s, bro. Someone like Dean Huijsen who can play there for the next decade, you're eating. Great signing for them. Carreras. Someone that I'm going to be real with you lot. You know me, I'm not one to yap about players that I've never heard of or I make things up. Carreras, I was not familiar with. 50 million, I said, hey, it's a lot of money. But watching him play for Real Madrid, wow. And apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, Ten Hag had this demon at his club for United and let him go. Oh, man. Employ Ten Hag and sack him again. That's really bad. Obviously, they got Trent as well, who for 10 million, yeah, cool. It didn't really work because they meant to win the Club World Cup and they failed. But regardless, 10 M's for Trent. In the grand scheme of things, he's still a bargain for one of the best right backs on the planet. People are writing him off already, saying, look what he said about Trent. He's not even playing anymore. Well, you wait for that Trent Mbappe link-up to develop like it did this last weekend. Long day for a lot of teams. Mastantuono, I'm not like a super fan of, I'll be honest with you. Nice free kick, in the derby, Boca and River last season, but I haven't seen enough yet, personally, to be moved as much as everyone says he's good. So, I guess we'll have to wait and see. And the final 2 teams, top Spurs are going to go in the B. Xavi Simons, Kudus, Tel, Danso. Danso kind of was already there, but you know what I mean. Kolomuani and Palhinha on loan. Again, fair play to them. Some really good signings. And again, sales, not a lot there. They got money for Son, for Højbjerg, like 6 mil for Hill as well. It's a good window, right? Given how much they got disrespected by everyone at the start. Gibbs White aired them, Eze aired them, everyone was airing them. They've come out with a pretty decent window, and it looks as though the Lily Whites are going black because, wow, look at those names that I've listed to you. Other than Palhinha, fair enough. Make Tottenham black. Not again, just for the first time, I guess. And lastly, Aston Villa, complete failures. This is going to be F4. They forgot there was even a window. Because, what have they done? They bought Gessan for 30 M's. They brought in Lindelof for free. Sancho Elliott on loan. And they saw Jacob Ramsey. And that's it. Has Emery not been told that there was a window? Because Emi Martinez certainly wasn't. He was there saying goodbye 3 times, and he's still going to be there saying hello again after international break. So yeah, that's my tier list. Let me know who you think had the best window, the worst window. Do you agree with me? Keep the interactions coming. Follow on Twitch, IG, TikTok, wherever. We're trying to go global this year so I can be at the World Cup in a bit. Bosh.